This is Ma'am Ridu, and welcome back. And yesterday I was speaking to this beautiful lady, and as I was sharing with her and listening to what she had to say about her life, I opened up the Living Enlightenment book. And one of the beautiful insights or messages that came for her was about pain and how pain can actually lead you to higher dimensions, to higher understandings in life. Now, most of us, when we are triggered with a particular pain, for example, you wake up this morning and your mother or your spouse hands you a cup of tea or coffee and accidentally she probably spills on you or you spill it on yourself and you feel the heat of it on your skin, and the next minute you're shouting, you're screaming, you're yelling, you're cursing, and you remember all the things that she had done right from the last night to the day she came into the house. Every single thing is being brought up and they're linked to everybody just by one spill of hot beverage on your skin or some pain that triggers you. It awakens all the negative incidents relating to her, to that person. Now, what do you actually call this? Is called a pain shaft. So, if any pain at any point of time, when it triggers you, when it touches you, it triggers all related incidences that came along. And you see it as all one long pain shaft. It is not so actually, they're all different incidents. But because we have put them together, we carry it with us wherever we go. It's like a stretch of coaches in a train. So each coach is like a pain shaft. And when we have one trigger of pain here, we drag the full pain coach with us. Now, Swamiji has shared about a beautiful technique called unclutching. Or how do you disconnect yourselves from this chain of pain? How do you actually disconnect yourself and make them negligible? Now, first of all, if you go and understand that each pain that happened, they're actually all independent situations. For example, the fact that your wife or your mother spilled some hot beverage on your skin, it is one incident. Now, that has nothing to do with what happened last night, or that has nothing to do with what happened one week back, or 1 year back, or the day she came in. They're all independent situations, independent incidents. They're not related. Now, the best way to disconnect from all this so that it doesn't carry a heavy burden of pain in ourselves is to disconnect from it. And that is called unclutching. So let's say if I were to sit and recall or relive the incidents that happened in my life in terms of pain, when I see them happening in my inner space, all I say is unclutch. All I say is unclutch. And when I keep seeing it in my inner space and saying unclutch, I'm actually cutting myself away from all these incidences. And when you start doing that, you will see that your number of thoughts in your space drops. Because half the time, the number of thoughts that we have may not be actually productive thoughts, but just thoughts which are just sprouting around. They're wild thoughts going around, picking up something from somewhere from the past, possibly from the future, some thoughts of fear or anything, or something not even relatable. When you start unclutching from every incident, your number of thoughts will drop. When your number of thoughts drop, you find there's so much of peace, and your inner space is so much expansive, and you'll have more time to yourself by just sitting and enjoying this blissful state. So each time you have a negative incident happening, just see and unclutch. Just see the incident in your inner space and say unclutch. Unclutch is like cutting away these negative incidences from our inner space. And that will also help to reduce the length of the pain shaft that you have created over time. For example, in my case, my mother did something to me when I was 5, and then she did something, all the incidences over these years. And if I were to put them in one long shaft, the minute something happens today, I'm going to go back to all the incidences that happened from day one. And although they could be non related, each incident could be different. For example, she reacted in a certain way for a certain reason when I was 5. And then there's another incident at the age of 6. And they all non-relatable incidences. But I would probably drag all of them together and say, this is what you've done from the day I was born, and this blah, 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 blah. And they're not relatable. And the fact that I've created a pain shaft in my inner space, it means I'm carrying something very heavy in my inner space because they're all connected together. Now, what I'm going to do is sit down, go to my inner space, and start unclutching from all these incidences. That means if this happened, okay, I'm going to see it as it happened, and I'm going to say unclutch. That means I'm going to basically cut all of them into individual incidences. The minute I do that, it starts to dissipate, and it doesn't have a power on my inner space as something very heavy. It starts to dissipate. All these incidences start to dissipate. And I will then have more space in my inner space. I'll feel more relaxed. I'll not feel that they're all connected. And the next time if something happens, I will just look at it as it is, as the incident that it happened, and not related to something else that happened in the past. Now, this is a beautiful technique because most of us fall into this pain shaft. Most of us fall into this pain shaft. We start creating it ourselves. And we can see how much damage we have caused to ourselves and people around us because of this pain shaft. Now, I'm going to be posting a video here of how Swamiji explains beautifully and how to cut away from this pain shaft through the process called unclutching. And you'll definitely experience lower thoughts, lower number of thoughts per second, more clarity in your inner space, and a lot more peace and happiness. So, with this, blessings and Nitya.